Bull or bear? I'm rolling the hubcap tonight, which is as you know, a 5-ounce 2014 Everglades commemorative quarter. I don't even know why they created the series and called it a $quarter. It's a 5-ounce coin and it's a $quarter. Never made any sense to me proportional wise or anything like that. Meanwhile, what's going on, man? Sorry I missed you on the weekend. I've just been really busy. I've got like 3 full-time jobs now lately, and I'm not doing any of them great. So that's what happens when you have 3 full-time jobs. Got the live Deerfield Beach underwater cam, and I can't say I'm not doing any of them great. I'm just saying I'm not getting the videos out like I'd like to on a daily basis, Mondays through Fridays. Got the live Deerfield cam up, which most of you really love. Oh, there's that file fish up there, if you can see him right there. Colorful little critter here. Seen a lot of fish darting about left and right, which usually indicates that there's a predator down there kind of chasing them around. And it wasn't just one species, it was all of them moving around. So something down there chasing them or spooking them a little bit. Meanwhile, what's going on with you? Well, probably the same with me, just watching these gold prices and silver prices and wondering where it's headed towards. And folks, ultimately it's headed upward. It's not a matter of if it's going to go up, gold, silver, and platinum. It's a matter of when, especially for most of us waiting for the explosive upside, the next explosive upside. And trust me, if I could name when that was, I'd share it with a few close personal friends. Of course, you guys on the internet as well. So there's that file fish, pretty cool little critter, isn't he? What was I going to say? Well, anyways, the coin came up a bull. It looks like a bull tonight. I started to describe the coin without saying what the coin flipped on. And I think it could be up tomorrow. I really do. I think gold prices could be up a little bit higher, but let's see. I'm typically wrong because I'm betting against the crooks in the Crimex markets. Well, such a beautiful picture there. I want to kind of move out of here, considering that I haven't had this camera up or this particular live cam of the Deerfield Beach underwater cam up in a while now. Really nice. Ron Paul, one of my faves out there. I know, man, I got man crushes on Ted Butler. I've got a man crush on Ron Paul. I got to admit, I even supported Rand Paul during the primaries way back when. And I'm going to catch some flack from some of you guys like that, but I do like the less war, spend less money, smaller government stance that these men represent. I'm not saying that they're perfect. And I've always respected Ron Paul. I think if Ron Paul had won the election back in 2008, we wouldn't be in half the problems we're in right now. Granted, we wouldn't be in a great situation either because you had to deal with the problem at some point. Should have done it back then. Instead, what we do? Absolutely nothing. Well, here's a Ron Paul quote. It says, "We in the Congress have a moral and constitutional obligation to protect the value of the dollar and to understand why it is so important to the economy that a central bank not be given the unbelievable power of inflating a currency at will and pretending that it knows how to fine-tune an economy through the counterfeit system of money." Most of you know exactly what Ron Paul's talking about is the fiat money that we call the US dollar. And trust me, there's no country out there that's any better at doing it than we are. We're the last horse of the glue factory, but no less. Our Constitution said that our money shall be backed by gold and silver. It is not backed by gold and silver. It is backed through fiat, through a banking system that, who was it? Jackson didn't trust the banking system. Was it Jackson? I'm pretty sure didn't trust the banking system, neither did Jefferson. But no less, I like Ron Paul. Happy he's still around. Boy, for an older fella too. That guy's seen some stuff here. Great quote by him. All right, numbers and psychology. You know, I did a video on this, the psychology numbers. We're at that mark with gold. Gold's, that $2,000 mark is really the psychological break point for gold. That's where a lot of people, silver not so much. Silver, we haven't hit our psychological break point for silver in quite some time. $50 was that, in 1980, and then again in 2012 before J.P. Morgan crookedly drove the $50 market down to $12 in a short period of time, accumulating themselves two things: 920 million in fines, if I'm correct, and also probably one of the largest stockpiles of gold and silver and precious metals out there. But I digress. I'm talking about psychological numbers, and that's what $2,000 is with gold, is a psychological number. Now, GATA.org talks about how, here, I'm going to flip into current spot prices here and just do a quick refresh here, how governments interact when it comes to wanting to keep the price of gold and silver down through the Bank of International Settlements, through the international banks, GATA.org, and probably the Federal Reserve as well. GATA.org talks about how central banks have a vested interest in keeping the price of gold down, not silver, but the price of gold down. And that vested interest is created to keep people involved with fiat, maybe even stock markets and real estate markets and other markets they have more control over, not the gold markets. Perhaps that these government entities do knock the price down, gold down quite substantially. And I think if I was going to believe that at any point in time, and GATA.org pretty much spells out how the Bank of International Settlements and central banks have pushed down the price of gold through bank leasing, the leasing days back in when we were discussing that in one of my videos not too long ago. The leasing days back in what, 1990s or something like that, when the UK sold all their gold. That's the intervention in the gold price when they go out there and they lease large amounts of gold, which are sold but they're owed back to them. And again, it gets into all that sneaky derivative bullshit. But that's what our whole financial market is made up of, sneaky derivative bullshit. Let's take a look at gold and silver prices here, because I could really jump down that. I like rabbit holes, man. I should call this the rabbit hole show. Gold, 1957-15, mid-1900 range, not at that psychological point at 2000 again. It was looking like we were getting up there, remember? In fact, we did. I think we touched that $2,000 range. How quickly we forget. Once we've been through these smackdowns a few times. But it's a psychological number, folks. As far as silver, the psychological number for silver really is $50. We've touched there twice, again, before the crooks out there knocked it way down. And wow, boy, I was just thinking about how I did that big circle talking about JP Morgan knocking silver down from 50 to 12 or 13 bucks an ounce, getting $920 million in fine and accumulating themselves the largest pile of silver and gold on the planet for probably any kind of banking entity. But oh, it's hard not to think about this and how crooked these markets are. All right, well, silver, again, not hit its psychological peak at $23 here. Far from it, in fact. I think if we had to pick a psychological peak for silver, it's that $50 mark, really, because we've hit there twice already. Gold is just knocking on the door of its high side for the fourth time. We'll take a look at the charts and look at that in a moment, too, because you'll see that, again, gold's hit its all-time high, what, 3 times already? 1980, 2012, recently in 2020 or something like that. I forget exactly when, but, gold hit its high of, what, $2,300 or, I don't know, man. We'll take a look at the charts here. The numbers are just a blur to me. I can see it as a chart, but the specific numbers are a blur to me. Platinum still sub $1,000, dirt cheap. Palladium, I don't know what's going on with palladium. Don't care. Don't sell much of it. Don't own much of it. Sorry about that. Someone should just do a show on palladium, and they'll capture themselves an audience of about 60 people. Okay, I'm just joking. Probably more being a niche market like it is. But these prices are super cheap, folks. Again, the prices here are derived on the crooked Crimex markets, which we'll discuss here. We haven't looked at the 24-hour spot gold charts here in a little while. Kitco, courtesy of Kitco, 24-hour charts. When did the markets get monkey hammered here in gold? That's Sunday night. That's the red right there, Sunday night's market in the open. Kind of sideways up in that $1980. There we go, folks, $2,000. How my memory fades so quickly. We did touch that $2,000 mark in gold. Again, gold almost touching its all-time high for the fourth time. Fourth. Again, that psychological number, $2,000. Staying above that mark is a whole different story for anything like the time. But she backs off, and we know gold's going to bust through that 2,000 mark, and that's going to be the new level at some point. But meanwhile, the crooked Crimex markets, I talked about GATA.org, talking about central bankers destroying markets, knocking markets down. And again, if I felt that there was any time that I believe that it's now, there's a reason why central banks, especially the U.S. central banks, and maybe even European central banks, would want to see the price of gold get monkey hammered down. Number one, why is they're competing with the BRICS nations. They're competing with China, they're competing with Russia out there. And Russia being a very small economy, you know, you'd be surprised to know that. I mean, maybe, you know, in many ways, Russia is a big, powerful, mighty country, but not economically in a lot of ways most people would think. But those countries are stockpiling gold. China is stockpiling gold. Countries like Russia want to stockpile gold to back up their ruble, and they've done a pretty good job of that, despite what your opinion of any of these countries are. I'm a peace person. I think make commerce with all, make war with none, and avoid tangled alliances, more or less. That's a famous saying. I probably screwed it up, but that's my belief, more or less. But no less, take a look at this. Monkey hammered in the Crimex markets, probably with a wink and a nod from federal banks and central bankers who do want to see the price of gold stay below that $2,000 mark. It just makes the dollar look better and other currencies look better when compared to gold. And take a look at that. Wow. When did this happen? Well, that's, what's that say, New York time, 4 a.m. You know, okay, London perhaps, maybe there's some gold trading going on in London, but we know the LBMA, London markets are crooked. So next to the crooked London markets, what you got next? You got the New York Globex markets, where markets get hammered early on with the price of gold. Really, who the fuck is trading that? Who is selling gold anyway that would cause the price of gold? I'm telling you, no one. This is purely orchestrated, bullshit, manipulative, collaborative stuff in the Crimex markets with the big commercial banks, with probably a wink and a nod from regulators and the Fed out there, who sees this as an economic war, in which case maybe market hoodwinkery and manipulation is acceptable in an economic war, and that's what we've had going on for quite some time. Let's look at silver market, because where gold goes, silver will follow. Silver has not broken its all-time high anywhere close to, not 3 times, not 4 times, but only a meager twice at $50 an ounce. But silver is such a small marketplace, so manipulated, not by governments at all, I believe. But again, silver will follow gold. When gold starts to go higher, silver will naturally follow that at some point. Even without the direction of the crooked, big collusive commercials in the Crimex, Comex markets that are involved in keeping the silver market so rigged and manipulated low. Again, with the wink and a nod of the CME group and the wink and a nod of the CFTC, who really does nothing about it, in my opinion, and people's, you know, other people that are smarter than me's opinion as well. So take a look at the silver market. There's the opening market in silver. Not quite the hammering that we saw, but why would silver, I mean, there's no reason for gold to be down like that, but take a look at this. About the same time as when gold took its hit, monkey hammered this morning, silver kind of follows along. So, you know, this is just, folks, this is just pure metal traders at big commercial banks, again, working in some kind of collusive way to drive these prices down and make their, you know, again, what they've done for decades and decades. There's nothing organic or natural about this price right here. But no less, what's good about it? What's good about monkey hammering the price of gold and silver by these big commercial crooked banks and the crooked CME group casino, where the price discovery is made for gold, silver, and platinum, and the worthless CFTC government regulatory agency that's supposed to prevent this stuff from happening. What's good about all this crooked behavior? Well, again, it's like being able to, it's like the crooks fixing the price of filet mignon and making it 50 cents a pound, or making gas $1 a gallon. That's the good side to it. Now, if you've had to sell anytime recently and you've been forced to sell your precious metals, certainly you're cursing these guys as well. And really, ultimately, we should not be happy with these crooked. I know a lot of guys say, oh man, it's great, they're keeping the price down, I can accumulate more of it and I'll make a lot more money. And I believe this is genuinely true, you will. On the other hand, too, though, the downside is that these crooks really shouldn't exist at all. They really shouldn't be allowed to do business like this at all. This kind of market behavior in the crooked COMEX CME Group's markets should not be happening at all. And we see how it happens in the silver and the gold markets. It's so in our face. It makes you wonder how crooked the entire CME Group derivative market is in a whole. Grain markets, corn markets, all that stuff. But again, rabbit holes we could jump down all day long. But what we can know is that these markets are completely non-organic, completely rigged. I mean, take a look at the trading times. I've talked about this for years. I mean, I used to show these charts for probably, what, a year and a half before, I just, again, you can only talk about this stuff so often. If you watch my old videos, you'll see it was almost like a daily chart for me. Meanwhile, what else do these crooks trade on? How do they drive the price of gold and silver down? Well, they do it through understanding what their competition is. Now, who is the competition to the big commercials, the collusive commercial traders in the COMEX group, especially when it comes to silver? Well, who is their competition? Who is their, I'm not going to say enemy, but their competition? They're looking to steal the prize away, which is the money. It is the managed money out there. And it's also, private traders as well. So they're going out there and they're suckering the managed money into, and the managed money trades in silver, not the same way. The commercials trade in a collusive pattern, understanding what their enemy trades on, and their enemy trades on algos. The managed money trades in the silver markets and other gold markets and other markets as well on the algos. They trade on 100-day moving averages, 50-day moving averages, 200 moving day averages. They trade on news, Fed news. Is the Fed going to raise hike rates? Their algos are set to say, well, if rates go higher, that means that's not good for the price of gold, so gold's going down. So these big commercials are not working on the algos. They're working on a collusive manner, understanding what the algos are telling their enemies. Does this make sense to you guys? That's how this crooked behavior happens. And take a look at the, what are the algos? Well, there you go. There's your gold price right there, $2,289. Well, I don't always trust these charts right here. Was that the high there in July 2020? But if I remember correctly, the 200-day moving average sets us back to what, September of last year. And where does that, September, there you go, September 2020. There's your 200-day moving average right there, folks. We bounced off that bottom here, past that. There's a 1647, but not too far off. 200-day moving average 1684, within 25 bucks there. The crooked commercials since then have not been able to bounce it down to that 200-day moving average, but they have hit with gold, what, the 50-day or something like that. But when it comes to silver, if we take a look at silver, the moving averages are just completely destroyed because of those $5 moves. Wow, and then we just circle back to more crooked behavior in the COMEX markets, and as I've said many times in the past, this makes a lot of new guys out there wonder, hey, listen, why do I want to buy silver if it's so crooked and the marketplace is so crooked where the price discovery is made? Well, again, it's like buying a lobster and filet mignon for 50 cents a pound or $1 a pound, and gasoline for 50 cents a gallon. Sometimes you're looking a gift horse in the mouth, and sometimes you can't do that. But on the flip side, I say as well, it does hurt the market confidence when people start to discover, especially new people, that this market is rigged. Well, nobody wants to play in a rigged market, but again, every market in our life is rigged. The Robert Heinlein quote I always say, of course the game is rigged, but if you don't play, you can't win. Play, you know what I mean? But know how the game is rigged, and it makes you a better player. Bitcoin, bond, big tech, bullion breakdown as banks and black gold bounce. And, again, Bitcoin, I don't want to talk about Bitcoin. I don't know anything about bonds, neither big tech. I'm not knowledgeable enough to talk about it, but bullion I am knowledgeable. There's no good reason organically why gold and silver and platinum, or gold and silver should be down at least. Purely manipulated monkey hammering, nothing to do with the Fed talk, which is they're talking about. Look, the odds of a rate hike in May inched back above a coin flip today. And again, that's the algos on the money managed side saying, oh, listen, they're going to raise interest rates. That's bad for the price of gold and silver. So maybe we should get out of that's their algos saying, get out of gold and silver, because traditionally higher rates were not good for the price of gold and silver. And the commercial banks understanding that that's what their competitors are going to do, and that's how they, that's how they steal their millions, like doing that. And again, keeping the price of gold and silver down. Where are we going to go to? There's no great news in banking crisis, banking crisis, banking crisis. Yeah, folks, listen, I think we're back into where we were before we hit the 2020 critter crisis. And I believe that part of the 2020 critter crisis may have been an attempt by the elite bankers out there to shut down they may have loved it, to shut down the economy, which was about to take a giant shit in 2019. Repo rates were off the hook. We all know this stuff. Again, it's like repeating the same shit over and over, and every YouTuber talks about this stuff. Nothing good out there. Oh boy, that's really sad right there. But hey, listen, we live in a world with billions of people. There are going to be a lot of sad incidents out there. Overall, what's my message? Buy gold and silver, platinum. Okay, all right. When the U.S. economy sneezes, the whole world gets a cold, if I'm correct. That's the saying. I couldn't attribute to who said that, but kind of an interesting saying. Couldn't find out where that quote came from. Remember it a long time ago. And this is very much true in the past. Maybe not as much now, but it is still very much true. When if our economy and the Fed takes a shit, even the Chinese know it, who are the second largest economy out there, and we'll take a look at that. Understand that if their primary competitor / customer takes a giant shit, it is basically taking themselves out as well. But so yes, when the U.S. economy takes a shit and the dollar takes a shit, it's taking the world down with it. And boy, that is a spiraling staircase to hell. The $100 trillion economy at one time, China was such a small part of that. United States, it was true. United States, something happened in the United States, every country got hurt across the board. Now, not as much with China because China's divested from a lot of U.S. assets, but China still relies on U.S. being a big customer and a big ally in so many important ways, technology, again, so many different ways. And if the United States fails, that's going to fucking kill China just as well. They're not going to survive that, but probably better than us. That's the downside of this whole thing. This is an economic war we're looking at. Poor Russia. Take a look at that, $1.8 trillion. They're just a small speck. Not a small speck, because there's a lot of small specks out there, but they're just a small part of the economy out there. The fact that they're able to sustain what they are right now in this particular war and come out ahead with the ruble looking strong tells me that they're going to come out of this bigger than the UK, bigger than Germany, and bigger than France at some point here as far as the reserves or their economy, the size of their economy. All right, well, anyways, I don't know where I was going with that. Where was I going with that? All these countries deal in fiat. Even the yuan is fiat, not gold backed. At some point, maybe they will back the yuan in gold, but meanwhile, it's not, and I don't think Japan ever will as well, nor will the United States back their currency in gold, nor will any of these countries, except perhaps Russia, and a few of those I can't see because my eyes aren't that good. Gold is a preservation of wealth, so is silver. Where gold goes, silver will follow. On top of that, silver is a completely undervalued, in my opinion, at the prices that it is. Gold's hit its all-time high, looking like it's going to hit its all-time high 4 times right now, while silver has, twice. That's it. All right, let's take a look at, speaking of silver way undervalued, the last video did, which was last Thursday. Again, folks, I'm not pumping out Monday through Friday videos like I was. I'm kind of cutting back a little bit. I'm doing my 3 videos, 4 or 5, as many as I can, but I just got so many things going on that I'm not always getting a chance to finish up with these videos. But thanks for following through with me. Meanwhile, in the Bat Cave, newest first. Let's take a look. I'm going to answer some questions here for some of you folks. Here, where's that water at? Oh, damn it. Hit it behind the computer. Okay, let me go to the bottom here. As you notice, I always put newest first, and I end up going to the bottom of the video. I don't know what that is, why I do that. Strange little habit. Okay, Rob F. Show Pro. Rob beat you to it, that's for sure. But no less, two great commenters out there. Appreciate you guys as well. And Show Pro being a customer of mine, too. Donald here in the store. Donald Desno says the other day, I said Ruff had 6 kids because he was busy. Later come and said he had 14. Howard Ruff. I usually spend... last week I was spending that Howard Ruff coin a few times. I was just looking for it. And if this is the first time you're watching this video, read who Howard Ruff is, man. He was kind of like a pioneer in talking about the preservation of wealth. I think also in emergency food supply, too. Something I should start talking about because hurricane season is around the corner. Anyways, thanks, Don. Appreciate that. Rick says, love your videos. Don't watch them all the time. Never finish. They're quite too long. If you keep them short, around 10 minutes or so, you probably get a lot more people. Rick, it's just not in me to do that. I'd look at some replies. I hope there's some kind replies there. Yeah. That's cool. I mean, I kind of get it, Rick, but I'm just not going to be that guy. I'm not the, it's just not me. So, again, you can fast forward through the good parts, I think. Like the television ads and the bad parts. And you ever watch a movie you don't care too much, or you know how the plot's going? Well, maybe that's me sometimes with you, but you can fast forward through that stuff, man. Catch the meaty parts if you want to. Thanks for commenting. Thanks for watching, Rick, and everyone else for commenting out there as well. Zane says, Brian, gold is at 2002 plus ounce. Oh, shit. Yeah, the old shit moment went the other way on Sunday night, or Monday morning, I should say. This morning. Trump, wow, gold is going to drop. It'll go higher after all, but it has to pull back. Yeah, I can't argue with that. We'll see a pullback perhaps. But again, none of it's organic. Just remember that. This is not organic markets. These are completely rigged bullshit markets. This is a crypto scam. They're going to tell me how Mrs. Amanda made me $10,000 an hour on the crypto markets, and we're going to just hide user from channel and get rid of that. Mike Matson, hey, thanks for watching. Donald Robinson, my Perry Como demeanor, coupled with my knowledge of metals, deserves 10. Thanks, Don. I really appreciate that. Perry Como, really? I remember Perry Como as a kid. He was kind of a little bit before my time. So I'm going to have to take a look and see who Perry Como is and the comparison. Some people have called me like a cross between someone else and Jeff Goldblum, so I don't know. I guess I come across to different people in different ways. Very thankful, Don, of your viewership and your comments. Thanks. Susan says, remember if you cash on hand, we have 20, 10, 5, $10 bill will be hard to get people to take. Yeah, I mean, this is true in a hurricane, even during hurricanes. You better have change on hand because a lot of places can't get in change. I remember a couple hurricanes we had here in South Florida where I wasn't the direct recipient in my immediate area. We did have banks close and situations where some merchants did not have change, so you're absolutely correct. I'd even say if you're frugal, have change down to the dimes, quarters, and halves as well. Silver Tree, thanks Susan, appreciate that, good advice. It's time for silver to go by while you can. True. Get gold and hold, man. Got gold? Thanks. Ex-Marine says, even more crazy than the price of the fact that people actually believe that electronic digital. Yeah, I know. I mean, it's a stretch to believe that a piece of paper has value, okay? Gold and silver, you feel it has value. When you put it in your hand, you feel it has value. You know from its scarcity and where it has value. You know from its 5,000-year history it has value. But it's hard to convince me that paper, and no paper species has ever survived for any length of time, has value. And digital stuff, even more. So I'm on the same page, old school, as you are, Ex-Marine 268. Thanks for commenting. K-Town Daddy says, back to my real home of Smoky Beach. Daytona Beach. Smoky Beach, yeah, that too, probably. After I left 28 years ago to Tennessee, Smoky Mountains, beautiful place, I have to agree. Maribs will do that to you if you're good, but then I'll make a point. Yeah, definitely stop by. Thanks, K-Town Daddy. Big Dog is 29 says, I've asked before, but I can't get in there so it makes sense, or maybe I'm way overthinking it. So when it comes to time to sell my silver, my goal, I'm thinking it's based on fiat currency. I'm trying not to have the first place. Everyone screams, buy silver and gold to get out of holding the dollar, but I'm surprised to sell it that. Oh, and receive a dollar return. Well, Big Dog, here exactly what happens here is you're buying gold and silver as a hedge against a falling dollar. Now, back when Germans had marks, German marks, say for example, at one point maybe a couple marks, 5 marks, a mark would buy a loaf of bread, or less maybe, silver or gold. They had gold marks when the German economy was stable, all right? And when the German economy became unstable, it would take a wheelbarrow full of marks to buy a loaf of bread. Now, you've probably heard that story. Now, why would you want to have that wheelbarrow for a loaf of bread? Because people back then had gold and silver, went and took their early gold 20 mark pieces, which were only marked as 20 marks or whatever, or their gold, and they traded in for a wheelbarrow or marks. Now, the gold held its value better than the currency. That's what we're talking about. You won't be trading your gold, silver, and platinum for food or anything like that. You'll just be buying a hell of a lot more dollars with it. That's the hedge. At least that's the way I understand it. Thanks, Big Dog. Appreciate that. Goodyear blimp watching my door. Oh, yeah, the Goodyear blimp. You remember your CB number. I did too. Except I just forgot it. Damn it, just popped in my head. It was calc something, 17 something, and oh my gosh, I just forgot what it was. That's terrible. Isn't it funny how those numbers pop in your head? Mark remembers this CB number as well when CBs were a hot thing. What year was CBs a hot thing? I forgot. I remember when I was a kid, I just wanted one, talking to my buddies and stuff and listening to other people and Skipland. Anybody remember what Skipland means? I'm aging myself here. D-Worm says, over the past, D-Worm, 2, I've seen constantly go for 1921, drop to near 7. Now the big lines are selling for 31. I'm not a buyer. We let them call it. Well, I think the problem is there's just a lack of 90 out there. It's all in solid hands that's not willing to sell at these prices and will not sell at these prices. Doesn't make it rare. It just means that it's in hands that doesn't want to sell it. Therefore, there's people out there that want to buy it. They're going to pay a lot more for it. Does it make it a better deal, or that you should hold on to it and not buy a cheaper silver? No, it doesn't really. It just means I think that if you have a lot of it, you should take advantage of it, sell the premium, and buy more silver with it. Again, I think that's just a smart way to do it. But everybody likes their stuff, man. I get it. And I'm not dissing anyone that likes their 90. There's certain products I own. So, hey, man, no worries. And at least it's nice to own a product that has a high premium, So what you do with it's a different story. Salty Dog says tomorrow should be spicy. Yeah. No, man, Monday morning was spicy. Salty Dog, not Friday. Friday was looking not too bad. Chris Dutcher, what's going on? How are you? For 200 years, it was 20 to 1. That would make gold worth $100, but it would also be able to see the gold silver at 40 to 1. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what's happening. We're still in that 85 or 88 to 1 or something like that. It's way up there, man. Film Zealot says to find short-term, 1 month, 1 year. Short-term relative to the price of gold and silver. Well, we certainly would know a daily, weekly, and maybe on a monthly basis would be short-term. I think even a year call-out would be a short-term. After that, I think you could call medium-term after a year looking out. And if you're thinking about it, I think a lot of people were really wrong on short-term outlooks for precious metals being much higher than they are. But I think the medium outlook has been kind of like spot on where we are right now. A lot of people were predicting gold at a much lower prices than we're seeing it right now. And I don't think we're going to see a lot lower prices. Again, I'm going down another path here. Thanks for commenting, Film Zealot. Luca Beachy says, thanks, Brian. Do you think 18-karat watches will hold value in the next to precious metals? If you own them already, keep them. Don't sell them. Add them as part of your portfolio or part of your gold portfolio, all your gold jewelry, your scrap gold jewelry, and your scrap silver. Just keep it as part of your stuff. And when you go start selling stuff, make that the first thing you sell, okay? Meanwhile, no, don't sell it now. Just hold it. When it goes higher, sell with that stuff as well. But don't go out and buy it. Stay away from buying scrap. I don't recommend it. Darren, the spiritual atheist, says, another China I love with all thy getting, get knowledge. Yes, knowledge, wisdom, and patience, I think, is important. Big shortcoming, we're going to the moon. Can't argue with that. Gold reset 5K, silver 1.5. Wow, man, that'd be an amazing amount. I'd be afraid of living in a world where silver was 1.5K. Gold, I think if silver was 1.5K, gold would have to be much higher than that. I think the ratio would be higher than that. But again, who the hell knows, man? Things are so artificial, just who knows where they'll explode to the upside. And they will, not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Oregon, WKIW 4979, calling WKIW 4979. Are you there, buddy? Are you there? Howard Ruff was a precious metals advocate during the 1970s, 80s through his books and television appearances. Yes, Nate, absolutely interesting guy out there. Lots to read about him. He was a early precursor to a lot of the YouTube guys that you see on YouTube now talking about survival and why you want to buy gold and silver as preservation and wealth preservation. And I've got a personal connection through Howard Ruff. Interesting connection of a friend of mine that bought Howard Ruff's company at one time. The story is kind of sad in the long term, and I won't talk about it right now, but I'm familiar with Howard Ruff. Big J says, I've been watching physical silver industry for going on 10 years, and I've come to the conclusion that the true driver in silver market is industry demand, input materials, not money or investment assets. Yeah, I guess input would be, but none of that's really the driver in the silver market. The real driver, Big J, is manipulative, crooked commercial trading. Paper derivative trading is what drives the price of silver, and why the price of silver is up and down like it is, and why it's not just down, but why it goes up like it does too. Big manipulative trader, and when that ends, I think the price is going to just go through the roof, and I think you agree with that as well. Mark says silver climbed to a ridiculous level. Just hold. True, in my opinion. Thumbs up. Gold and silver is not time to convert gold to silver because of the ratio. I just like mixing it up. I never think about converting anything. Mike, thanks, Jeff. Appreciate it. Good thought, though. Michael Matthews, cheers to you. Oh, man, my throat's dry. There we go. Consistency. Oh, Maria. Oh, look, Maria made $45,000 from her $10,000 in a matter of 10 days. Woohoo! Goodbye, Maria. Rick, hey, what's up? Gold inventory looks pretty good out there, generally speaking. Gold inventories don't look bad. Silver inventories always look a bit scarce, and premiums are always crazier in silver, but gold, not so bad. Although they are up. Not that you mentioned, they are up a little bit for sure. Lasagna says, I've noticed the data bullions of other coins are cheaper than silver eagles. Are those a better deal? I'm sure anything is better than a silver eagle when it comes to the premiums and prices out there. Avoid silver eagles like a plague. If you got them, trade them in. Buy yourself some cheaper silver and more of it. That's what you'll get from your silver eagles. Thanks, Lasagna. Appreciate that. My local coin deal is way cheaper than online. Buy local, folks. A testament that you should always buy local if you can. And if you do live in South Florida and you're going to buy gold, silver, and platinum, hey, come see me. Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals. All right, I'm starting my ad early. I'll wait a moment, okay? I'll tell you how to reach me if you live in South Florida, or if you're buying large amounts of gold and silver and you live anywhere in the United States, continental U.S., if you're buying larger amounts. Hey, listen, I am going to call it quits here. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. If you like what you hear, make sure you hit the bell too. It'll remind you when my new videos come up. And if you ever happen to not to find me on that particular channel, YT, you'll find me over here perhaps. I just kind of back up everything over here. I also notice that there's more use going on here as well. Maybe it has something to do with being a free speech platform like this has become. And again, like to thank everyone. Chris, appreciate that, one of my commenters out there on not YT, but Twitter. And you can catch me here. Here's my handle, good buddy, KLC 1760, I forgot what it is, KLC anyway, Brian Kuzmar, good buddy, you can catch me here. I'm thinking that CB stuff here. Technologies. Imagine sometimes when people will be talking about Twitter like that, we talk about the CB now. Anyway, reach out to me here. I do answer questions. I do respond out here, and it's kind of new for me to do that. But since Elon bought it, I like it more. I like anybody that believes in free speech as opposed to stifling it. Jobs, community, business, keep it local. And why do I say keep it local, folks? Because I advertise here in Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals to beat APMEX, SD, and JM Bullion on their prices. So if you live in South Florida, rather than order from the online guys, come and see me. I'll beat their prices on their reasonably priced products. And if you live outside of the state of Florida, I don't have a website, but you got a couple options. If you're going to buy more than 100 ounces of gold, more than 1,500 ounces of silver, I can still deal with you through wires and traditional forms of shipping. But if you can't spend that much money, you don't live in South Florida, and you can't visit me here at Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals, where I advertise to beat APMEX, SD, and JM Bullion. Shameless plugging, I know, I'm just doing it. This is how I make my money, folks. You can call us, like I said, if you're buying more than 100 ounces of gold and more than 1,500 ounces of silver. If not, folks, I can't recommend enough times. If you're buying quantities where you can't deal with me here and you don't live in my area, please find a local dealer first. Stick it, keep it in your local area. Try to keep that money local, jobs, community, and businesses. See if you find a local guy to give you as good a deals as I would, or as APMEX, JM, or ST would if they were online. And explain to them, hey, listen, I'd rather keep the money local as well. That's it, folks. Thanks for watching. Have yourself a wonderful day. And hopefully I can crank out another video tomorrow. And don't forget the Collectorama show in Lakeland, Florida coming up. Coins, paper money, gold, silver, jewelry, and collectibles of all kinds. Get your free tickets here at the collectoramashow.com. This is if you live in South Florida and Lakeland, which is not far from Tampa, not far from Orlando, not too far from Jacksonville, and about 3.5 hours north of me here in Broward County. Again, folks, thanks for watching. Have yourselves a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye now.